Greetings, beloved. Brian Antonio here. And today I am asking the questions: if you could design your own theme park, what kind of themes would you use? That is something with my whole life of loving theme parks, not really having had the chance. I have had the chance to go to several in the United States over the years, but I pretty much go years and years between visits. But I certainly now, in the age of YouTube and widespread internet coverage, I'm very aware. I especially love to watch the U.S. theme park vloggers, and also last year I started watching Coaster Studios, and they cover a lot of European and other places around the world. So I'm becoming much more aware of how theme parks are done around the world. And so since I have absolute control, and I do try and be practical in my choices and in my design, but I don't have to deal with bean counters and executives and politics. And so when I design a theme park, I have certain themes I love. You see here that that's the gateway to one of the theme parks I have been designing, although that changed. I loved this one I was working on for an entrance with a hotel around it. I love this one for my current main theme park I'm working on, Confluence Gardens Park, and this is the hotel around the entrance. I do believe in a hotel at the entrance to a theme park. What are some other things I have? Here's what it looks like from the outside. And, I love this. So this is actually, I love this entrance from 1901, Paris World's Fair, and the Parisian architecture I was kind of feeling out for the entrance to my park that's anchored by a World's Fair. So I guess I'm giving away some of my answers. What would I theme my theme parks on? Epcot, as it was envisioned, and even when it first opened, to me, was incredible. And although it's still very incredible, because I love global cultures, which includes food and music and architecture, I love lots about Epcot Center. But Disney, from the very beginning, shied away from the idea of Epcot, which was as a World's Fair. You have all the industry and innovation here in the front and what they used to call Future World. This is an early design. Some of it came true, some of it didn't. And then in the backs, you have the typical, the world, national pavilions, culture pavilions, things like that. I love a World Fair theme park. And so I had decided a long time ago I would love a theme park that was anchored in World's Fairs, particularly if I've chosen the location near St. Louis, down the highway from Chicago in Illinois. Then both Chicago and St. Louis had beautiful Beaux-Arts World Fairs back at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th. And so being the host land where everyone enters, to have that as a Beaux-Arts World Fair, that is something that is big for me to plan. I also love urban planning. Theme parks are one of the places where you actually can see why urban planning works. Silver Dollar City is this beautiful small town area. I love the vibe. I haven't been to Silver Dollar City since like 1980. It's changed a lot, but I love this town center vibe that you get at Silver Dollar City. And big time bucket list for me is to go to Dollywood. Who doesn't love Dolly Parton? Dolly for president. She's too smart to take that. But she also has turned her theme park into lots of little town squares and beautiful things. And of course, here's the beautiful old grist mill where they have their famous like 3-pound cinnamon bread, right? So I love urban, but I'm a more big city boy. This is Rookburg in Phantasialand, which I believe was Phantasialand is Germany, right? And I do love steampunk. This is very steampunk, right? This fly coaster is one of the coolest coasters in the world. But you get this very almost dystopian to me steampunk vibe. I see cities as beautiful. I do love that late 1900, late 1800, early 1900, late 19th century, early 20th century vibe. Wu's Town, also in Phantasialand, has a really cool urban vibe, but it's more fantastical. And I am a fan of solar punk. I do like steampunk. But you see here some parts of Phantasialand. You get the vibes I'm going for. Of course, the coolest themed environment I've ever been lucky enough to visit is Diagon Alley at Universal Studios in Orlando. And I definitely love that vibe. Again, I'm not a big Anglophile. I'm definitely not a huge Harry Potter fan, but they really accomplished something with immersion in this way they plan this land. I could go and look at Epic Universe now has done a Parisian setting that I also love. And then finally, one of the themes I love is holidays and seasons and elements. And there's this cool park up in Iowa that everybody keeps worrying about, that they'll get enough visitors to be able to stay profitable. But there's this Lost Island water park, but they've come up with this theme park that everybody raves about. It needs some trees, it needs some shade, but it's growing in and people love this park. I love holidays and culture. I love seasons. And so these all inspire me to the master plan that I've shown you before. Right here in my Edwardsville plan. This would be the first park to open. And I'm going with my late 19th century, early 20th century park for the host area. And the host area right here, already a lot of this has changed. But I love a university as a theme too. Now this turns out to be a town from, I guess, what is that? The Victorian era, the Gilded Age. But of course, I'm a utopian, so I try and think of a backstory that I'm happy to share sometime soon about how it can be a utopian, a workers-driven place of community and mutual support, where it's using renewable electric energy instead of coal, steampunk, or petroleum, etc. I've also kind of developed this. My university now goes over this way. I love in Disney's Animal Kingdom, they just got rid of the dinosaur theme that I feel like they never really did enough of that, but I love that, and I love the idea of extending it all the way to the roadside attraction with Route 66, which again begins in Chicago, runs down Illinois and through St. Louis, and then all the way to the coast. So Route 66 land, of course, Cars Land at Disney's California Adventure is one of the best planned themes ever. And then I love the Ozarks, and there's tons of Ozark lore and ambiance, and just in general rural America, kind of picking up on that Silver Dollar City and Dollywood vibe. Around this way, there's kind of the big cities, New York, Chicago, and into what I have developed a beautiful, beautiful Christmas festival based on European festivals. And so if you look at this park, it actually goes around from where you enter up here at the 12 o'clock, you have autumn, which is my favorite month. I mean, my favorite season. Then you come down and you get winter here at 3 o'clock. Then you come down and you get spring at 6 o'clock. And then you come around and you get summer at 9 o'clock. So that is the themes for the park that would open. Of course, you'd probably only open with pretty much from about 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and it would have plenty of room to expand. Then my World's Fair Park, this is more like an immersion of cultures down here. And so once again, you have that World Fair that I talked about, anchored by St. Louis and Chicago, and I decided to make it all the U.S. World Fairs, even though up here I think I would have a French Gateway Hotel, and that French Gateway, because really the best global exhibitions were born in France in the end of the 19th century. Then over here you have the Americas, tons to do with Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean. And on this side, you have Europe. It's pretty hard to avoid Europe in United States culture and mythology. And I have developed a beautiful land here that's kind of Leonardo da Vinci-esque, Renaissance, again, not steampunk, but kind of like a machine punk, like something that has lots of automatons and cranks and things like that based on Leonardo's style of design, but also to just the Mediterranean. And of course you have Asia, Africa, you have the Pacific Islands. I forget, what is this down here? What am I? Oh, Oceania, of course. New Zealand and Australia, etc. I've developed a kind of a time island up here to anchor things. Again, I like playing with time, with seasons, with places, with cultures. And then the ultimate true World's Fair, drawing on solar punk. I love solar punk and the idea of a World's Fair that is really utopian. This is from Dubai, which don't get me started on Dubai and the way they exploit people and foreign workers. But it was beautiful how they designed their World Fair, and I love solar punk, if you haven't looked into it. So this idea that we can live in a win-win situation. I love this. I've never seen that picture before. That's beautiful. So if you were to develop your own theme parks, when you're the boss of Imagineering, what are the themes that go into your theme parks? Thank you for listening to me ramble and looking at my ideas.